Steve Evans, first of all, happy birthday for this week. Your present is another of your former clubs visiting Priestfield in Rotherham. Of course, Peterborough was your home city club, your adopted home city coming here, team you managed. How does this one compare with a club that maybe you enjoyed your most success with as a manager?
Yeah, it's some wonderful times, working for a great family, great chairman and Tony Stewart, brilliant supporters. I'll applaud them tomorrow. Fantastic times, unprecedented if you like. Took over in bottom half of League Two, finished just below halfway in the Championship, and then went off to Ellen Road. So some fantastic times.
I mean, perhaps you can't be afforded too much nostalgia when you're still in your playing career or management career, but when you look back at that period, what do you think was key to that success that maybe you can bring to Gillingham as well?
Well, I think the fact how hard Tony Stewart worked to get me in the first place, and I can remember his first words when we sat down at the coffee, and he said, "I want a gladiator and not a priest on that sideline. I want someone to fight for me and fight the battles and fight with my team and lead my team into every battle, which is a match day." And I think I did that with real pride with real pride. And it's often when we get together, and we do for dinner and drinks and things, he always reminds me of those great times, and largely in part to him, of course, and to Richard, his son, for supporting us with a good budget. You know, you have to have a budget ultimately to be that successful, to go back to back and end up in the Championship.
And at the time, Paul Warne was your fitness coach there. He's now in charge at Rotherham, and I think a lot of people have great admiration for the way he approaches the game, how he wants his players to carry themselves and their sort of relationships with their families as well. Obviously, as a fitness coach, you maybe don't get too much of an idea of that, but what impression did you have of him when working alongside him at the club?
Well, I think when we joined, he was assistant fitness coach. He wasn't even fitness coach, wasn't he? He'd such an enthusiasm. Of course, we knew Paul from playing against our teams in non-league over the back end of his career, but he'd such an enthusiasm, sorts of knowledge. He was always studying, he was always asking questions as to why you're doing things as a manager. I think a lot of things out of my book he'll have taken and nurtured them and made them better, and all the things that you do as a young manager. But he's done a great job, isn't he? He's done a great job. Now he has to do a great job again. He has to get them promoted. He's taken them up once, he can do it again. They get back to me, as I said to you before, like I did, with good support from the chairman in terms of finances. But he's a good guy. We wouldn't have had a lot of the success without the input of Paul on a number of occasions, and we would like to think we helped grow him into that role.
Obviously, as a fitness coach, you maybe don't stray too much into the tactical side of management. Did he want to get involved outside of his own role at the time?
Oh, we had him involved. We just had a meeting now with the staff, and it's the key people. It's all the coaching staff. You know, ultimately the onus is on me to pick a team, as it is for Paul for his team tomorrow. But you know, we always had our staff in. We always chatted about the team. We encouraged free speech. We encouraged openness. We encouraged people like Paul, people like Andy Dibble, people like Dennis Suckett, who had a medical at the time, to say, "I don't quite see what you're saying there, Gaffer. I prefer this, and this is why." And if you encourage that, you get your best out of your staff.
Obviously, he joins you in getting them promoted to the Championship as well a couple of seasons ago. What do you think he's brought to that team tactically compared to how you had them playing a few years ago?
Well, it's a different era now, isn't it? They've got different players. I don't think there's probably only Joe Mattock and Richard Wood left there from the time I was around. So it's different people. They've got different coaches behind Paul Warne, who probably play in a different way to what we played. Both can be equally as effective. Both can be effective and will be effective. But Paul's put his own stamp on it now, and he's a good guy. I caught up with him at the back end of last season, and we had a nat on a car park for maybe 5 minutes, and we stood there for about an hour, both of us freezing, but I think we both enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing Paul tomorrow.
And they have a disparity between home and away form as well, a lot stronger on the road so far this season. I'm sure you've tried to watch them when you can prior to this game. Why do you think that is, that sort of a contrast between the results at home and on the road?
Well, from a Rotherham United's point of view, the stadium is stunning, and it's a real highlight of the majority, not all, but the majority of clubs in League One, to players and staff to go to New York Stadium and get a result and prove a point and want to perform on a big stage. So we had that in the early days in League Two with a new stadium, but that will be what that's about. But listen, Paul will be the same as me. No one will remember whether Rotherham's a good or bad or away form, home form, irrelevant if they're in this playoffs or ultimately automatic promotion.
In terms of team news for your side, I read that Ben Pringle and Lee Hodgson have been training well this week. In terms of Lee Hodgson and that right-back role, how excited are you that Jack Tucker's got to keep another one out the side? Barry Fuller could be back and he's been playing well all season. You've got another right-back who's hungry to get back into the squad.
Well, of course, Lee Hodgson could play more than right-back. We signed Lee Hodgson to compete at right-back with Barry, but we also signed him to play right side of midfield or left side of midfield, where he was outstanding at St Mirren, outstanding. And but Lee's been shaking off little niggles here and there all the way through, and I think in the last couple of weeks, in fairness to Lee, it's the first time he's completely got rid of him, even although he was in the team at the early part of the season. So that's great to see. And Ben Pringle, he was struggling a little bit. He's obviously finding it difficult to get home in the week and all that stuff. His partner's about to give birth in mid-November, so that's an exciting time for Ben. But the great news for Gills fans is he's moved this week. They tell me he's in his place and he's settled, and the missus is down. So and that's been borne by his performances since last week. They've been excellent. The practice game on Tuesday was stunning.
I mean, he could be in line to play against his former club as well. How pivotal could he be if he does come in that midfield role and just offering something different among the likes of Alfie Jones and Stuart O'Keefe, who are sort of battlers within that side? Well,
it's a battle to get into a team in that area of the pitch because we've got some good players. But Ben is better known to Rotherham fans and Gillingham fans for obvious reasons. They had, certainly under us, they had 3 stunning seasons there. Absolutely fantastic. We arrived and Ben was playing the reserves, not even considered to be training with the first team and good enough for first team selection. We put a practice match into place and he was stunning and we put him straight in the team. So from that point of view, he's got nothing to prove to anyone, but he is competing to be starting tomorrow.
And of course, just finally for me, heading into an FA Cup weekend next Saturday, how crucial could it be if you come off the back of the first away win of the season, put together those back-to-back wins and then give yourself a springboard once you return back into league action when I think you host, I can't remember who you host now, but you've got another tough game at home as well, I believe.
They're all tough games.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're playing when Bolton kids arrived here. It's a tough game for a period of time, and the league leaders arrive, whether it be Ipswich, Peterborough, whether it be Wickham. They're all tough games. Tomorrow will be as tough as any of them. Our concentration is not about the FA Cup. I've got no thoughts on Sunderland until we go through Saturday, and obviously very quickly at turn. But it would be good to be in that top half of the table group. That would be good because a win tomorrow, and you look at who plays each other. We could be sitting 5-6 points outside those playoffs, and we've always said if we were 5 or 6 points outside the playoffs going into January, we'll be much better in the second half of the season. Statistically, my teams have always been better in the second half of the season. Statistically, a fact.
Cheers, Steve. Thank you.
Now people will check those facts.
Steve, Rotherham, looking at their form, not too dissimilar to yourselves. Do you feel that you can match them this week?
It's going to be tough. I think that if you put in the fact that they'll slightly tweak how they play, the fact that they're away from home, I think that's fairly evident on what Paul works at. But they've gone to Blackpool. They've got a good result at Blackpool, probably not at the best. A bit like us at Accrington, not at the best, but got a good 3 points. Went to Ipswich and were absolutely terrific, absolutely outstanding. I've watched that game in full now twice, and it identifies just how many good players that Paul has at his disposal. I then looked at the bench, I looked at the substitutes being introduced. They're a side who will ultimately at the end of the season, they'll be in that top group challenging for promotion. And it'll be demanded by Paul, and more important, it'll be demanded by the chairman, because he has put the resources. He told me in the summer what roughly those resources were. It's a top two or three budget quite comfortably.
And off the back of getting that vital away win, long overdue away win, and a clean sheet as well, will you be looking at your players to really push on now?
Well, I think we've said our season is still described internally by us as frustrating, because we know the points we should have had. We're not going to go into games where we've lost when we could have been out of sight. For example, Coventry, we lost. We were poor in the first half. They should have been out of sight. Should we have got an equaliser later on? Yes, we missed a couple of chances, but deservedly beaten. I just talk about the games that we're comfortably in control of. And if we had 4 points to what we had now, we'd be winning tomorrow to go in the playoffs. So that's how tight League One is. We respect Rotherham. We certainly don't fear them. We respect them. And it's just an opportunity to get another good win.
And the chance to get back-to-back wins away, then home, and that's another crucial step perhaps in this way.
I think I read the words of Kenny Jackett, who said the difference of back-to-back wins in this league is the difference of 4 or 5 places, and he's right. And the difference of 3 or 4 wins takes you from bottom half of the table to the playoff group. That's how quickly things can change. But to get those wins in any league is pretty tough. It's a tough and unforgiving Division League one. The standards are really high. You've got those majority of those players and teams that are just not quite in the Championship, and that standard is very high, as we know.
Is that exactly what you need to do if your side's going to really climb that table?
Yeah, you need back-to-back wins. You need to all of a sudden come out and have 3-4 straight wins, and it puts you into that group, and you don't want to, but you can afford a game or 2 down where you don't reach the heights, or you don't have the luck, or you don't take the chances, or you concede sloppy goals. You can afford that. You can't afford that when you're not putting your 2 and 3 game winning runs together. Any team who does it, we've already seen Ipswich do it at the start of the season, we've seen Peterborough do it. I think Sunderland are probably capable of going on and doing that now because of the change and the good wins they've had since. I know they lost last week, but there are a couple of good wins. But there's so many good teams in this league. Somebody said to me the other day who's going to finish in the top 6. I named 9 of them, so it's how tough it is.
You're probably unlucky last time out at Priestfield not to get a result against Peterborough. This can't really be much more of a sweeter birthday present if you get that home win.
I think when you look at the fixtures at the start of the season, I think every manager looks at the opening day, every manager looks at the holiday periods, Christmas and Easter, they look at the end of the season, and if their birthdays in the football season, they always look around their birthday, and that's one of the ones I quickly looked at. And Tony Stewart's always bought me nice birthday presents, so if the chairman is coming tomorrow, this is a little reminder, Mr. Stewart, you know the type of red wine I like. We used to share mini bottles of what we did in the summer, I paid, so a nice birthday present please.
Right, thanks.
Thank you.
When you look at the clusters of fixtures that you've had, you've played a lot of sides who are going to be there or thereabouts in the playoffs already, as you said on more than one occasion. The performances, despite the fact you're playing sides at the top, for me since the start of the season, have gone upwards at a quicker rate than I, as a supporter, I would have expected. Is that fair to say from your side as well?
I think without a shadow of a doubt, the performances are going up. I think when you put a totally new group together, which is a new group, then it takes time. And I've never ever been fortunate enough to take over a football club where the team is flying high at the top end of the league. There's always been a problem, either than the current run of form they're in, or it's a rebuild exercise in the summer. And that's what we felt Gillingham had to be about. We didn't have the big resources, so you have to plan accordingly. And we've got a lot of young players in that group, but they're coming together very nicely now. They're maturing together. They're getting to know each other's games. That always takes a little bit of time, and that's why I said earlier, the second half of the season for us, we will be significantly better than we are now. Whether that gets the results that we need, we will see.
We also seem to have a very balanced side, particularly the back line has been changed for a few weeks. Your midfield's more or less been the same. It's just as you said in the press part, all inverted commas you need is a 20-goal striker.
I think you're right, Mike. I think when you look back, people talk about the great times we had at Rotherham, but the side that was promoted to the Championship out of League One, I could rhyme it off now to you in my head, and it was so easy. We used to myself and Paul Rayner used to sit in the house we had in Rotherham on a Thursday night. It was our time for really picking the team, really. And we used to try and find ways to disrupt that team. We used to try and find reasons, and ultimately we couldn't. The team almost picked itself. And we're getting, at this stage, without any additional business in January, we're getting closer and closer. We're all bar maybe 2 players, 3 players, it's picking itself.
And that is being fed back to you both fans as well, because it was where you said all season you want the fans to come through the games, even though you lose. When they're backing, when winning fine terrific backers, the support you offer when we're losing, the performance of the fans against Peterborough almost matched that of the players.
I think it's a past it. I think to be 2-0 down against Peter and such a good side as Peterborough, we gave away a ridiculous penalty, a ridiculous penalty. But for the supporters to stay with us the way they did, they nearly got the rewards for all of us. We nearly got a point, if not 3. I think if we'd have got the goal back via Mika earlier in the game, I think we would have won the game, not just drawn it. But that's all about opinions. Darren Ferguson probably thinks they've they've stood that quite comfortably. I don't when I look at the level of chances we created. But it's not just one game. I think we should say to our supporters, judges on our merits to give you everything we've got. We don't have the resources of the big boys in this league, but Gillingham will never have. If you get into the Championship, you're never going to have the resources of a West Brom, of a Derby, of a Nottingham Forest, of a Leeds United. But you can build a team in another way that can be successful. Eddie Howe, he's the master at it. He didn't have, whatever MD says, he did not have the best resources at Bournemouth in League 2 and in League 1. Different ball game in the Championship, and I think the Football League fined him almost £20 million for overspending, but that's when they suddenly had some serious investment going. But to get to the Championship, Eddie worked wonders on budgets that would be not dissimilar to what we've got to Priestfield.
You've been mentioning the team for some weekends. No Callum Willock again. How is he?
Yeah, he's getting fitter. He's back in training. He'll train with the group. We're really hopeful that he can be involved on Saturday week.
How frustrated is it when he sees his brother scoring goals like he did the other night?
Well, no, Matty's probably said he showed him the tricks in the garden, and they're a special family, aren't they? I said to his dad, I'd love to have his genes, and the mums. I think to have three brothers as gifted as those three kids is tremendous. Arguably, Matty has all the tools to be where they are, as proven when he was at Manchester United. He's all the tools. We just need to get Matty on the pitch, get him at his best. We have one of the top end League One players in our dressing room. We've just struggled to get him on the pitch consistently. But you know what? The kid's frustrated, but we're going to give him all the support in the world. He deserves our support. He wants to play.
Finally, can you afford to be English for 80 minutes in the morning?
Well, you know, when the game's going on, I'll probably put BBC on and not watch ITV. No, listen, I've been down here. I've always said, you know, whether it's football, rugby, whatever it is, cricket, you want England as a nation to be successful. I think it is all the spin-off supporters. If England won the World Cup tomorrow and we win, then let's all get in the factory and I'll go home on Monday.